Well, we're here at the old barn gym again for another weekend workout, and I guess we survived another week at the old foundry, and the body's still together, and I'm real happy just to get working out. I'm just trying to last those 2 years till I'm 65, retire, and start a new life and get some serious training done. Anyway, just a couple of things I wanted to mention, and I'll mess around with some Olympic lifting too, and I've got a few ideas on that. But I've been I've been reading in the Masters Olympic Lifting newsletter, and I've been watching his comments online on the YouTube. The guy's name's Jim Napier. He's from Texas down there, and he was a national champion lifter, I think, in the late 70s. And he's took a long time off, and now he's back into Masters Olympic lifting, and he's a lot of what he's saying is out there. He has a book that's supposed to come out in November that I really want to get a hold of, and the comments he makes to other people on YouTube and stuff, I've gotten a hold of those and kind of catalog them, and he makes a lot of sense with a lot of the things he says. So I'm really listening to Jim, and you know, I'm hoping to get his book, but if I can give him a plug, it says this guy knows a lot. Okay, anyway, on another subject, I got my Vanlue t-shirt on today, and it's kind of in honor of the Vanlue high school football team. Or last night they broke, I think it was a 17-game losing streak, and with a big win. I think they won 27-0. And you know, this is an extremely small town. Vanlue is nearby, and they probably are, if not the smallest high school in Ohio to field a football team, one of the 2 or 3 smallest. And year after year, those guys show a lot of guts, put out a football team, 13, 16 guys, maybe something like that, you know. Play in a Blanchard Valley Conference, which is a very, very good Division VI conference here in Ohio. And I've always admired the guts of those kids coming out year after year, and you know, doing their best out there, being overmatched, you know. But this year, I think they have a special kid, young person, young athlete who personifies the best in what's going on over there. There's a fella, a very good basketball player. He's 6'10". I think his name, I'm pretty sure that his name is Zach Garber. And I've seen him play basketball, and you know, he's going to play Division I basketball next year when he graduates at University of Toledo. And but Zach Garber has always played football. So this is his senior year, and he's out there playing football. He's a wide receiver for this Vanlue, you know, plays defense too. And you know, a lot of basketball players that have talent will stay away from it once they get locked into if they're going to play Division I basketball. A lot of them, you know, they're locked in there they're going to be discouraged from playing football to save their body, to make sure that they get into their college program. Well, especially at a place like Vanlue, I'm sure this guy has had people saying, "Man, you're under the gun playing football as a tall target anyway, and two, overmatched against teams that you're going to play being a part of the Vanlue team, but Zach Gardner is just like, out there. I would say he is what the ultimate representation of the guts of that town and their football program. And so hats off to that guy, and hats off to their team. And where I get a fondness for football teams that struggle is from my youth. And I grew up in a small town, southeast Ohio, called Bridgeport. It's right across the river from Wheeling, West Virginia. And I grew up about a block from the football stadium. So every day I was down there watching Bridgeport High School, Bridgeport Bulldogs practice their football every day. I'm like a bird dog to these guys. I'm little, 8, 9 years old. And they were good some years they were bad. Some years they had a lot of kids out, some years they didn't have so many kids out. But one of the practices sticks out in my head is I was down there and they were having a rough year. I think they were probably 3-6 and heading into a big game against a tough team, Martins Ferry, which did a pretty good job of beating them every year. So they're practicing down there, and one of the neighborhood guys is a senior, and I always looked up to him. His name was Hamilton. And they're scrimmaging amongst themselves, and it's, a fall day, and it's muddy, and kind of field is kind of worn and flat, and you could slap the field, and it's like hard mud, put it that way. If that makes any sense. But anyway, on one of these plays, kid busts up the middle, and Hamilton, defensive end, chases him down, dives for him, goes over the top of him, and hits his forehead in his helmet, smack onto this, kind of flat, grassless field, and you could just hear it like, boom. And he hit his head like that, and he's stunned, and snapped his neck back and everything. And he's kind of waking up, and he's out there on one knee, and he's got his helmet off, and he's like shaking his head and everything. And I thought, right then, I thought to myself, damn, these guys are having a rough year, bad record. They're going up against a dynamite club that's just gonna, do a number on them. But here they are, practicing hard. And this guy was personification of them. It's like, he's going hard. Win, lose, draw, 28-0, it doesn't matter. He's going hard. He's going hard in this practice. And that kind of made me, give me something about what a football team should be, and what it means when you cross the line out there, put on the uniform, and go out to play. So anyway, that's just kind of where I picked up on being like a Vanlue fan, I suppose, is because You know, you go up, you talk about going up against odds. I mean, every facet of what you're doing, the odds are against you. But you know, these guys, these Vanlue guys, just you know, they're inspirational to me. So you know, good for them. Okay, I'm going to try to get this thing ready to go and do a couple lifts, Olympic lifts, clean and jerks, and you know, believe me, I am real rookie on the Olympic lift. I've been at it a few years, but you know, I'm not showing anybody, hey, look what I can do here. I'll guarantee you that. But one thing that I had picked up, and I'll go through it, is I think this might be of use for rookies to try to get your pre-lift ritual down to where you can be consistent on your pre-lift ritual, and it may help you approach each lift and concentrate. A lot of people just come up and you know, get in here and they're like, okay, well, here we go, you know, okay, up we go, stuff like that. Well, I read before about good Olympic lifters say, get your pre-lift ritual right, and I've also studied foul shooting from basketball players, so I kind of combine those two to get a pre-lift ritual which may help somebody who's young and needs one, and it'll help your consistency in that. So I'm going to go over that, and then what I'm going to do is go over the things that I think about as I do certain things, you know. I'll start back here, and I'll loosen some things up, and then I'll come up and do some thinking here, and what I'm going to do is just kind of repeat to you what I'm trying to think in my head, and see if it helps somebody. I'll see how it comes out. Now the first part I'm going to talk about as far as pre-lift ritual is I've read about basketball players and coaches and stuff, and what they have come up with mainly is that you should relax the part of your body that carries the most tension in it. And with me, that's always right back here in the traps. This is where I need to relax before I can get nice and loose and do one of these clean and jerk, sort of snatch, whatever. So anyway, the first thing I'm going to do is be back at the edge of the platform, and in my head I'm going to be back there, and I'm going to just go concentrate in two ways. I'm going to put this head back, and I'm concentrating right back here, and I'm just saying two words. I'm just saying in my head, hang loose, hang loose. And then I'm going to bring this head forward, let it drop down some. Same words in my head, hang loose, hang loose. Then before I start up to the bar, the next thing I'm going to say in my head is breathe easy. I'm going to get one deep breath, breathe easy. Which just loosens everything up. And then by the time I'm ready to get down and start pulling, I have a couple other key words I say in my head, and then get lined up and ready to go. But I'm going to walk through that and just, you know, say these keywords to make my approach to the lift consistent. Okay, I'm going to get ready to try to do one here, do it right. One thing that I'm really concentrating on in the jerk is I want to get that stick it. When I talk about sticking the jerk, I'm talking about, you know, really planting these feet, hearing everything nice and loud, boom. No stepping, I want to stick it. So we'll work on that, and but I'll tell you, I'll give you my keywords in my head, what I'm thinking, and just see if it makes sense, see if it's something that might help somebody young. Concentrating on them traps, area between the shoulders. My keywords are just like hang loose, hang loose. Tilt the head forward, hang loose. Now as I approach, my thought is breathe easy. Now when I start to get set to lift, my main thought is I want to get that bar back into my throat. That's what I'm thinking right now. Now I'm going to bring it back, hold it tight. It's always a good idea, get it back, hold it tight, so you never have them dumb mistakes. When you get one up, I've seen just terrific lifters do that. Get one up, beat the signal, down it goes, no lift. So earlier in the video I was talking about things that Jim Napier says that I'm buying into as gospel, and one of the things he says is to train the lifts, train your technique, and save the PRs for the meets. And so that's been kind of my downfall, or one of my sticking points is to be constantly pyramiding up to try to get to the upper level of my lifts, and you know, it just seems like the system is going nowhere that way. So I'm kind of bought into Jim's philosophy on doing your training hard, getting your techniques right, be ready to go come meet time. So one thing that I need to work on, which somebody young may need the idea in their head too, is to really drive and snap that jerk no matter how strong you feel up here. A lot of times if somebody, I believe if I get a jerk weight up here and I feel like, okay, I'm feel pretty strong with that, I think I'll have no problem putting this up over my head. I think that's That's a fault. That's not right thinking, because a lot of times you're like that. You're going to take it a little easier. You know you can get it up. You can take it a little easier, and you're getting up. Your jerk becomes less snap and more press out. Okay, well, I want to get out, break myself of that habit right away. So I'm working on that, on these lifts here. So just keep an eye on that. And I'll just go through my keywords here and see what I can do with this bar. Hang loose. Hang loose. Breathe easy. Get that bar into my neck. One thing, I was up once at Bud Chernaga's garage gym up in Livonia, Michigan. When I first started the Olympic lifting, I bought some weights off at Bud, and I went up there and got to see his people work out. And Bud told me one thing that kind of stuck with me, which was like, he said that he says your lifts can not only feel good, but they can also sound good. So he says, like, he wants to hear the feet, and he's not one for really extra jumping of the feet, but that's what he's kind of emphasizing, that make things sound good too. So that's another thing I'm working on. You know, but Bud's kind of a guy with like a lot of tree bark on him. He's not the easiest guy in the world to buddy up to, but he did me a big favor by letting me come up there and watch everything. And when I was watching, he was answering all my questions, and so I have everything. The only thing I have to say about Bud is good. I'll tell you that. So anyway, he stepped in and helped somebody that didn't know much. So anyway, thanks to Bud. I appreciate that, Bud. Well,